that they're lost or that they're sad or that they're going through something really horrible because of the way that others might treat them or that society might see them as.
When we're talking about the youth, do you think there should be a campaign educating children from elementary school level up to high school on how to handle their emotions and places to seek in case if it's needed?
Absolutely. I absolutely think that there needs to be a campaign of some kind. I mean, there's a lot of different organizations that, you know, raise money and
Yes, but
reach
they all
out.
normally cater to the adults.
Right. That cater to the adults and that are more focused on just mental health in general. But I definitely think that there needs to be more of a focus on our children and our youth because as time is changing and, you know, social media is evolving and technology is evolving, the list goes on, things are changing and there's not as much, you know, person to person, eye to eye communication anymore. It's all through text, it's all through Facebook, it's all through Instagram, it's all through Snapchat. I mean, you name it, you don't have to physically be with somebody to communicate with them. And there's a huge blurred line with this and with social media because all of those things are great. Social media makes, you know, things a lot more accessible for us. You know, Snapchat, Instagram, whatever, you name it, makes communication a lot easier and more accessible. But I think that our youth is being somewhat dragged away from being really personal with other people and knowing how to really connect with others. And I think that's something that we lack significantly. And I've watched even my younger brother go through this. You know, people don't even, these kids that are growing and learning and changing constantly, you know, they aren't even communicating, even if it's poor communication or, you know, bullying or being rude or whatever, any kind of communication, negative or positive, it's through social media. And when people see other people being negative or other people, you know, writing certain things to people, they jump on the bandwagon. And the negative comments, the negative posts, the negative attitudes build up.
It has an impact.
In comments. And it has a huge impact. It has a huge impact on people. And then, you know, when these kids go to school the next day, they're faced with these people that were talking about them or writing about them or, you know, whatever it might be on the internet just the night before. And they have to face these people, but then don't have the tools or the courage or the knowledge or, you know, just the communication skills to confront people and to, you know, stand up for what they feel and stand up for who they are. And in a result, we have kids who are afraid of their emotions, who don't want to feel their emotions, who feel like their emotions are wrong, who are scared of other people. And, you know, a lot of these kids I've noticed have great amounts of anxiety, and that contributes to the way that, you know, kids are communicating and kids are reacting to how they feel and how they think they feel. And I definitely think that there needs to be more of a focus on our youth and our youth mental health because they're the future. Our youth is the future. Without our youth, what do we have? They are the future. They are what's coming up next. They are right behind us.
And let me ask you something. When you speak of social media, don't you think being able to see so much horrificness, let's put it that way, now Facebook, for instance, being live, right, which in my opinion is, it could be the worst thing that can happen. There are people who live have committed suicide, right? There's people who harm others while live. Every other person is watching it as it's happening in real time. Do you think a lot of these things are influencing the youth? We're not talking about the adults. We know committing suicide, we will never know specifically how someone has the courage, because to me it's courage. Some people say it's a cowardly way of dealing with emotions. But when you know, again, depression and mental health is a serious issue, you're not in control of your emotions. So I would not call it a cowardly way of, of sending yourself out of this earth, right? But having this live and this easy access on the web, do you think that has to have a major impact on these decisions when it comes to the teenagers and the kids? When you told me the other day, 8, 9 years old, my heart immediately broke, because never in a million years have I even considered a 8 or 9 year old taking their lives away. So what do you think?
I definitely think that, you know, Facebook having the live option, I mean, that can be a very, you know, useful tool, and that can also be a very, very, what's the word I'm thinking of? Just detrimental, accessible option. And I definitely think that when you're constantly seeing, people posting live videos of fights or bullying or maybe even a suicide or maybe even somebody speaking before their suicide or, just anything, you name it, these horrible, negative, traumatic videos that these kids have so much access to, I think it definitely contributes to the way people feel mentally and physically and emotionally. I mean, when you're constantly seeing things that are negative and constantly seeing people who are being put down or going through a horrible time, that does a lot to somebody who is younger and who, may not have seen those things yet in their life in real person or has not had the upbringing to be around any of that. So to constantly see things that are negative and terrifying, sometimes I think that with our youth not being educated, it can, a lot of people think like, oh, like, how would a child even know about suicide? How would they know that's an option unless it's, kind of put into their head or, has been told to them, which I definitely think is true. I definitely think that, a lot of kids don't even know what suicide is until somebody explains it to them or they see it on social media or they see it in a movie or they see it, in a news article. I don't know. They don't know that's an option, but I don't know. There's a fine line. There's a fine line with it because you never really know how a child has become aware of this option and
Right.
why they have decided that it would be an option for them. And that's why I think that more education and, just parents just letting their kids know, like, these live videos occur, these things are on the internet, you need to know about them. Because with this society that we live in today and with the technology and social media that we have, it's inevitable. Kids are going to see horrible things on the internet. They are going to find out about things. They are going to learn about things that maybe parents have tried to prevent for years or, tried to keep them from. It's accessible and they
Right.
might end up finding out about these things. So I think as parents and educators and as, community members, we just really need to look out for our youth and really educate them and let them know about what's going on in this world today and what we need to do to prevent other people from going into these situations. And I think if we teach kids more about, suicide and reasons why people commit suicide and, things that go on and they're more aware of it, then they are more less likely to get to a point where they think that might be an option for them because they're educated about it. So yeah, there's a fine line with Facebook Live and social media because it's very useful, it's very fun, it's very accessible, but it's also, very scary at times and very detrimental.
There's no way to stream it and stop it from happening.
Right, there's no way to really stop those things from happening, so we need to just let kids know that these things do happen. This is what you need to know about when you see these things happening, you know.
I really want to thank you for this opportunity, and this is a subject that we're gonna talk about frequently to get that message out there, and hopefully, the people who truly have been impacted by a suicide, whether by a child or an adult, also starts doing something where it needs to be out there for the public. I know it's a very serious matter. I know it's hurtful, but I think when people tell the story, you find out you're not alone, and with that also comes prevention, right?
Absolutely. And I just think a lot of teenagers and children and young adults just, they're going through things, they're changing, they're learning, constantly evolving into who they're going to grow into be. And, with those changes and with those learning curves comes a lot of pain and a lot of heartbreak and sorrows and challenges and obstacles that you have to face as you grow up. And I think that a lot of kids end up feeling like they're alone and that there's nobody there for them and that nobody knows what they're going through or could never begin to understand what they're going through. And it's just totally not true. There are so many people and resources and community members that really care about the youth and want them to know that there is hope and there is happiness and you can get through anything that comes your way.